What's up, everybody? Welcome to the weekly developer update. I'm Joseph Armeanio. Today is January 30th. So this week on Twitter, I posted a picture of Ledger, and that's opened a lot of questions. Where's that at? I know the community has been waiting for a long time, and frankly, it's something that we ideally should have delivered sooner. The build is pretty much complete. We're going to be passing that off to our wallet partners. Yoroi and Nautilus are going to need to integrate that into their build. I know both have committed to that, so hopefully we see delivery on that to end users here pretty quickly. We do have ErgoHack. The registration period is coming to a close in the next week, so if you're willing to participate, please sign up. Usually what we do is we have a registration period that's pretty official, and then near the actual event we have a couple of developers come in and join teams. If you're solo and you want to participate, that's always an option. So let's dive into it. We're going to start this week with looks like Nautilus Wallet. This week they released their public beta. That was a pretty big success. I used it myself. I didn't have any issues. I was actually part of the initial test group, so I've kind of been playing with that for a little bit. Looks like the next thing on their agenda is going to be the dApp connector, and they have created some kind of official partnership with the ErgoDex team, so pay attention to that. I'm sure they have some marketing and material that'll come out talking about what their plans are together, what their roadmap is going to look like, and hopefully that takes us to a more stable ErgoDex experience. I know some in the community have been a little frustrated with that lately. Hopefully the overall feel of it, and hopefully it works, right? I think we're moving in that direction. Next we hear from Nitrum147. Looks like he is talking about concepts similar to what they do on Cardano with babel fees. Basically, it would be the concept of paying transaction fees in native tokens. And one thing potentially that does is allows users to use the assets that they hold rather than just Ergo specifically. I guess that's ultimately going to be up to miners, what they want to mine. I guess there's also a potential, in the future of having some transactions that are submitted that mining pools run their own babel system. We'll see. There's a lot of flexibility and creative solutions that can come about, hopefully from the mining pool specifically. Next we hear from AnonBR. He's actually been our developer that's been patching and testing the Ledger build for the last couple of months. And, they've been working with Tesseract to make sure that what we deliver to you guys is a solid product. That's kind of the point of Ledger, right? And it's having that hardware security. So we need to do everything we can to make sure that we deliver that in one piece that is stable, because errors there would be a big issue. Next, we hear from Apextheory. He's been working on the node and interlinking NIPoPoW proofs. Basically, what that will allow is a rapid sync. That build has been in motion for a couple months. It's a big project. We have Apextheory and the Sigma Rust developers all working on supporting NIPoPoWs and Ergo, which is going to be a pretty big deal. I think that's going to lead to some really unique user experience and network potential. I hope as we push that, I'd like to actually get Alex on one of these videos and have him walk the community through exactly what that means. I think that would be really nice to hear from him. Next, we hear from ErgoPad. Luivatra has been working on a smart contract solution that will allow users to stake tokens that are launched on ErgoPad. Basically, if you participate in one of their sales, once the system is live, it should allow you to stake the tokens that you get through the launchpad and earn basically a reward for that staking. I'm sure that may change project to project depending on the tokens and the emissions, so that's something that users need to always watch, but that's certainly something great to see. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the community that are interested in bringing unique projects to market and acting as kind of the early bird staking reward accumulator, right? Looks like they're also working on the off-chain code to redeem stake tokens. And they've also been putting together some airdrops for their community. Now, Nemo and Nautilus have been getting a lot of attention lately. Part of that is just due to demand, and they're building kind of a known path, right? Versus what MrStahlfelge is doing with the Ergo mobile wallets is really cutting into the unknown. You know, I have to say that I have a lot of respect for what he's doing, and I think that the ErgoPay solution that he's working towards supporting in both the Android and the iOS wallet, which will allow users from their mobile device to interact with dApps, is really going to be something big. Solid mobile dApp connectors are a totally different development path than a browser-based wallet. So I believe that we're going to see some kind of demonstration video. I'm not exactly sure when that's coming out, but I do know that he wanted to showcase exactly what he's building. Helix Evo, he asks, is there any word on the public release within the App Store? In order to get on the App Store, we need to have a DUNS number out of Singapore, which is where our corporation is been set up. Now, a DUNS number requires a form for us to fill out that requires banking information. That's something that we have been pursuing, researching, and we're actually in the process of onboarding a financial partner for the Ergo Foundation. Hopefully what that allows us to do is pay developers in the currency of their choice and allows us to take our bear market, let's say, oh shit fund, and put it in a stable bank and, you know, allow us to have that in reserve in the event that it's needed. It's just financial diversification, which is important, you know, for the long-term health and survival of the entity we've set up, the Ergo Foundation. It looks like next we hear from AggerGakker. It looks like GuapSwap has submitted their application for ErgoHack, so everybody keep an eye on GuapSwap. Let's should be fun. Anon 2020S is still working on the mixer, being that we have the privacy hackathon, and he's probably one of the Anon developers in our ecosystem that has the greatest depth of experience with the mixer and privacy tools. He's going to be a mentor. It looks like we're going to have a team that is going to be implementing stealth addresses, and they're trying to come up with a framework that allows you to send tokens from a regular address to a stealth address from any wallet. And that'll be big to see. That's a big privacy tool. I'm excited to see what comes out of the hackathon, especially with that. That's something that it's broad enough that it could potentially benefit everybody in the ecosystem. And that type of solution is really nice to see. All right, so Alex Kushti has been working on the node development. He investigated the network issue that we happened a week ago. He made a hotfix release. He's assembled a new candidate, which is 4.0.22. We've been testing it. He's got the log and database from one of the nodes that was stuck, so he's diving into the information that he gathered from the log, and we'll be doing some diagnostic to see how we can optimize in the future so that doesn't happen again. And he's also been reviewing and preparing the next reference client, 4.0.23. In other matters, he's helped Luivatra check the vesting contracts for ErgoPad. He's discussed some of the aspects of the DEXI USD design, which is in development at this point. And he's also reviewed some PRs for Sigma. So he's working pretty much all over the place as usual. We got network optimization. We got some ecosystem support, playing around with the new design of the stablecoin, and optimizing the tools that Ergo was built from. Now, with all the attention that's been on Nautilus, we have another sleeper browser extension wallet that's being developed. haileypdll is working on a build. It looks like it displays wallet content transactions with unconfirmed balances. You can send multi-assets. You can import, export from it. And he's working on a signing function for dApps. So a dApp connector-like experience. So we have multiple wallets that are in development that hopefully, bring us a better user experience through multiple options. So I'm excited to use and test what haileypdll is working on. I think that'll be well, we'll see. I'm not exactly sure when there's going to be any type of beta testing available, but when there is, our community generally likes to hop on to new builds and play with things. So let us know, haileypdll. I'm sure there's a lot of members out there that would be interested. The browser wallet is going to be supported in Chrome and Opera at first, and then it's going to be integrated into Firefox. I actually believe Nautilus has the same development path where they're starting mostly in Chrome or Opera, and then later we'll make sure that a Firefox build is stable. So we have a update from MHS. Susy on his side is done. It's one of those things where he's built a wallet on the Ergo side, and there's also development ongoing with partners, and MHS is a really good developer, and the consequence of that is sometimes when you're working with partners, you're faster than them. So I guess at this point he's kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for them to finish their side. That's definitely something that should be live in February. That depends on external factors at this point. So hopefully we get an update about that, and we kind of start bridging to other ecosystems. All right, we have greenhat. They're working on basically the SPV NIPoPoW client, which will allow us to have full node security in an ultralight environment. That's a big build. Still in development. It looks like they're making some pretty good progress, actually. it's something that well, we'll see how close they are to putting that out in some kind of test version. Ilya has given us an update on the ErgoDex. ErgoDex Analytics now supports liquidity locks. That's what they've been working on, is mechanisms to lock liquidity so there's not potential rug pulls, right? It looks like they're working on cross-chain architecture for the ErgoDex, and Explorer backend is getting some love to support the ErgoDex build. I'm really curious to see what happens with the cross-chain architecture. I know that they've been spending too much time from their perspective trying to support the dApp connector, which has been pretty unstable, and then it kind of, well, they hear about it from their users, and so naturally it kind of becomes a problem that they inherit and then have to delegate resources towards. I do know that they're pretty close to pushing their Cardano DEX to testnet. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be, but keep your eyes on that. It may be relatively soon. So Alex or Kushti drops a little secret here that Ergo fees and custom tokens were actually paid before the Babel fees paper came out. That's part of how the Ergo mixer works on the back end. He does give the Ergo community forum link for that. So if anybody's interested in learning about how the mixer works, that's a pretty good place to start. There is going to be one team that's actually going to be working at taking the mixer, refactoring it into Java, and then trying to pull it into wallets. Hopefully, if they can create a unified framework, it becomes a build that everybody can potentially benefit from, because it can go into multiple wallets, not just one. That's really pretty ambitious project. There was a proposal by Ilya to add RPC support to the node. MHS is talking about potentially creating some grants or bounties to support that build. Basically, it's kind of like a call and response protocol that would allow applications to potentially, send requests to the nodes and then get a response back, which is good in a decentralized network. Sometimes if you rely too much on the Explorer build and you have Explorer issues, it can take things offline for a little bit. Not that the actual network itself, like the underlying consensus mechanism, is having any issue. It's just reading and gathering information can become congested. So that's certainly something that I would support grants and bounties for. Hopefully we get the community on that. I think it would be a good thing to start building into the ecosystem. Next, we hear from Cheese Enthusiast at GetBlok. Looks like they are working on making their subpool handling more efficient. Working at how many miners subpools can handle. Looks like they have finished up work on their proof of vote tokens and launched that on the mainnet. And they're working on building voting proxy contracts and the recording contract. And that should be the start of the proof of vote mechanism, which is a really cool build on a mining pool. I'm happy to see that. Looks like Cheese Enthusiast is wrestling with a little bug that he has found. It brings up an interesting question. A lot of people would say, well, why would you talk about a bug or a weakness on a developer update? And it's something that I think is a good thing, honestly. Open and collaborative development creates open frameworks that can be reused. So if somebody runs into a bug in one of their builds, it is beneficial to get eyes on that from multiple developers in the ecosystem, because they may be doing something similar in the future and run into the same error or issue. And so everybody that's let's say contributing to the developer update that's interested in helping out Cheese Enthusiast and GetBlok figure out their mysterious bug that they're running into, please hop on and contact him. I'm sure he'd be happy to get some additional eyes and assistance on whatever's going on. Next, we hear from Morphic. He was a little late on Wednesday, it looks like, but I do this video after Wednesday, so if people are late to the actual developer update, please continue to post, and it'll show up on Sunday. So it looks like he has been working on Sigma, improving the app kit. I reviewed the candidate 4.0.22. He has been working on the just-in-time costing blog. I actually got eyes on that this week. It looks like it's coming together pretty well. He reviewed EIP 0028, Ergo authorization. Next up, he's going to address the review comments and work on the remaining tasks for version 5.0. I think that'll be a good read for a lot of people in the community that are interested. It looks like next we hear from Noah, who has been helping update Sigmaverse.io. Those of you that don't know, Sigmaverse.io is a directory of the Ergo ecosystem. It kind of gives an overview of all of the different projects, and it looks like this week we added Bitmasks, Coin Characters, Comet, Cryptocurrency Checkout, Cyber Citizens, Cyber Pets, Erglyph, Ergoat, Ergo Donkeys, Ergomon, Ergo Monsters, Ergo URL Wallet, Ergo Vision, Erguroi, Luna Dog Coin, and Node Spider. I know some people are going to say that's a lot of Ergo stuff. Yeah, we're working on the whole naming process here. Next, we hear from Ladopixel. He has been working on a game to teach Ergo skills in a fun way. Hopefully, those of you that are on Twitter saw the Twitter post, which I might be able to actually play. So it's kind of it looks like a Game Boy game style retro learning experience, which is pretty cool to see. You can go through the little environment and learn about Ergo. So if you're interested and you want something to, let's say, motivate you to learn in a environment that's a little bit more entertaining, check it out. Next we hear from Rob for additional updates beyond what Cheese Enthusiast dropped earlier in the discussion. It looks like they're making progress on the second version of their UI. They've coded it to work with multiple currencies. They're starting to work on wallet state and pulling personal stats from the API. All Cloudy added another server, it looks like, in West India. So that's online, and they're working on marketing and communication in that particular region. They're also supporting the testing and debugging of their smart pool code. Rob is working on marketing and documentation regarding the smart pool framework and proof of voting mechanism that they're building. They're working on full tutorials of how smart pool works and how to use it. And they're identifying additional use cases and partnerships with token distribution. I believe I talked about that a little bit last week. That's something that I think we're going to see come about, which is pretty exciting. Next we hear from Frosty. That's anetaBTC. He said, right now we're building as much as we can before the hackathon, and then we'll decide what specifically to work on at the hackathon. But looks like they have made some pretty good progress with their landing page. They're finalizing Yoroi integration. They're putting on-chain analytics into their front end. Their documentation is being completed. It looks like their goal is to get the front end of their app complete before the hackathon. They're also working on an official anetaBTC dashboard and UI. The research team is getting pretty close to functionality to wrap Erg native assets on RenVM. The implementation of RIM seems to be less than ideal, and they're still leaning towards X-chain approach with vaults and collateralizing Bitcoin. The Aneta wallet should be live soonish, a few weeks. As of now, they've forked the Ergo wallet, changed the UI, and are working on the ability to hold Bitcoin. So that's a pretty big deal. I know they had a drop this week. Yoroi and ErgoDex weren't, let's say, behaving optimally, but the network is pretty young, and we are seeing multiple solutions being developed at the same time. So I think that's just growing pains. I don't see it as a bigger long-term issue. Short-term, it sucks. So this is the anetaBTC studio dashboard that they're working on. It's tracking stake pools and their metrics. And it looks like that might wrap up this week. Pretty big week for the ecosystem, honestly. We're seeing a lot of development. I think that as we see multiple core infrastructure, wallet development, Nautilus, ErgoPay coming out, we're hopefully the RPC upgrade that MHS mentioned, we're going to get a lot better user experience. And at this point, that's pretty important. That's something that we need to address and improve on, and luckily we have multiple developers working concurrently to get us there. So thanks for doing that, everybody. I hope everybody has a good week. I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully see everybody at ErgoHack. Have a good one, everyone.